What's up, boys? Today I want to talk about holster selection. Maybe not just holsters, but the main reason that I chose the holster that I chose. I'm going to take you back a little bit, maybe show you what the situation looked like almost a decade ago. So traditionally, when you purchased a firearm, 2014, 2015, your holster selections were pretty garbage, honestly. You had your AIWB and OWB holster. I think at the time, really the biggest names in the space were DeSantis, Safariland, and that's pretty much it. Custom kydex had just started getting extremely popular, and realistically, every option in that early to middle 2010s was basically the exact same thing. A 2-ply kydex option. Maybe it had a single clip, maybe it had a double clip, but it was always double-sided kydex, press fit. Usually they were very large, and if they were OWB, most of the options, at least, again, before it started getting extremely popular, a lot of the options were leather holsters. So, when I originally started looking into getting a serious pistol setup for personal defense options, it took probably over almost 2 years. I'd started personally with a DeSantis holster, moved to a C&H holster in 2015 or 16, and it wasn't that I wasn't necessarily happy with these holster options. It was more, there was always a missing piece, something that I didn't quite love about it. Maybe the holster moved too much, maybe there was a feature or something that I felt was lacking, maybe the firearm printed really bad despite the size of the firearm. And one day, I was watching YouTube and happened along a channel by the name of T.rex Arms. And ironically, the first video that I saw from Lucas had nothing to do with his sidecar or the Ragnarok holster, and it was just fundamentals, skill building video, rifle shooting if I'm not mistaken. So I was watching, and after a while, he started talking about how he had made his original holster for, I believe it was his fire chief or somebody, and that holster ended up being used to save the life of the chief or officer. Again, I can't quite remember the exact details of the story, and how that gave him the idea and the latitude to move forward and make custom kydex. The thing that I think originally or initially drew me to the sidecar style holsters, this is my Gen 1 quick ship Wolf Gray option. I believe I purchased this in October of 2018, so it's got some time on it. It's actually broke quite recently down the spine, and I thought to myself, well, you have a couple Gen 1 holsters, maybe it's time to ditch it and get a Gen 2. I thought it was a blessing in disguise, somewhat, not a blessing in disguise, but an opportunity to try what the person that iterated on the base holster did on his own holster, essentially. So I said, I'm going to pick up the Gen 2. This is a light bearing TLR7 model. I've talked about this in my EDC video. But yeah, so this is the T.rex Arms Sidecar Gen 2 with their spine system and a pistol magazine side attachment. The super cool thing about this specific model is it can be ran flush with this clip in this position, and it can be run appendix, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, basically anything from center line of belt to kind of right past your, right before the small of your back. I got this with a weapon mounted light option because I've tried other holsters, other IWB holsters with lights, and I was kind of missing some capability. So I decided to pick this up, and I've had it for almost 2 months now. I understand that Lucas is somewhat of a controversial figure in the firearms community, or whatever, in the firearms arena, essentially. People give them a lot of shit about things. The thing is, they stand behind their products. When this Gen 1 broke, rather than assume that I would have a warranty or some sort of coverage, I just went and purchased another holster. Durable, not very durable goods, they break, and much like magazines, much like a lot of things in firearms, they're not forever items. You do have to replace things from time to time. So I just assumed naturally that I would have to replace it. Not only because it was broke, but because it was an older generation. Well, in my infinite wisdom, prior to even attempting to look to see if a warranty was still active or what the warranty even covered, I purchased the Gen 2 early, essentially. So I was on Instagram link, blah blah blah. You don't have to follow if you don't want to, you're a grown-ass man, but I'll put it here if you're interested in that. And I was on Instagram and I saw Lucas doing a live, and he said, oh, sorry, essentially to one of the commenters, he said, oh, I'm sorry, you still have a Gen 1. Contact CS and get a Gen 2. Warranty still stands. I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. So I thought, maybe I could reach out and see. So I contacted their warranty line, spoke with Jordan, their CS wizard, essentially. He offered not only to give me a full refund for the holster, but when I asked him, would it be possible instead of a warranty to get an additional holster, he said, sure, no problem. What generation was the firearm? And it'll be shipped out. Quick edit from the future. I emailed them Monday. This holster literally showed up on Thursday. So, yeah. I couldn't even finish editing the video before the product showed up. So, hell yeah. Good job, T-Rex. For full transparency reasons, I told him I was going to be making this video. He literally didn't acknowledge it. That's awesome that that's not his concern, and it shouldn't be. The customer should be their concern. And again, for full transparency, I've purchased a lot of products from T.rex Arms. I've purchased a Trigicon RMR, a set of Hesco body armor, one Glock 17 Ragnarok, Glock 43 sidecar, two different original Gen 1 sidecar and a Gen 2 sidecar, a Mars carrier, an Ironside carrier, a bunch of random different parts, 2 leg straps, Kiwi belt pouches. So pretty much, not everything on their website, but pretty much the full gambit. So the reason that I support T.rex Arms, not only because they make fantastic products like this Gen 2 sidecar, they were the original progenitors of this design, the actual sidecar. The reason why they're called sidecar style holsters is the sidecar motorcycle, where you would have the main driver rider of the motorcycle, and then in a smaller sidecar, the passenger. This design revolutionized holsters at the time. Pretty much everybody makes a copy of this, and I'm aware that, Lucas was on Tucker saying all sorts of things. And I can appreciate his rain-addled, very rapid speaking on that program, but I didn't watch it, if I'm being honest. That being said, the products that they manufacture, they're nylon, they're Kydex. The products work. They stand behind them. They're an American-made, American-owned, American-run business, and they care about civilians. They're not just, they are somewhat pandering to military, Leo, mill types, but there's no reason that civilians can't also have this type of stuff, and they can't enjoy it, and they can't use it, and they can't be proficient with it. And I appreciate T.rex Arms for not only their mission statement, but their goal to educate and teach people how to use firearms properly and responsibly. So, the main reason I wanted to do this video was I wanted to have kind of an introduction into the 2.0 space, but also I kind of wanted to talk about T.rex Arms as a company just in general. They're really good dudes. You might have negative things to say, and yeah, they might get dragged on Reddit and or Instagram or whatever. People might make fun of Lucas, but they're good dudes, genuinely really good dudes, and they're being the change that they want to see, not only in their state but in their community. And if everybody behaved that way or made moves like that, maybe this country might have its shit together just a little bit more. So I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling a little bit here, but so I've got roughly 4 years, almost 99% carry time with this 1.0. I can tell you from personal use, literally running it between 12 to 16 hours a day for 4 years. It just now broke. I don't know how many drills out of it. I've quite literally worn the slide, the original finish off of this slide with this. It just cracked along the back plate. There's some pretty hefty indentation on this front part, and these black rivets are completely brass on the back just from wear. That's with the claw in the forward position the whole time. So if it is this durable for this period of time, and on top of that they've iterated it to make it less more break resistant rather, then the Gen 2 probably will be good for another 5 years. So realistically, I've got $200 in holsters, and they're standing behind them and sending me another one. So you basically have to buy 1, maybe 2 holsters a decade at this rate. On top of that, with the spine system, there are additional secondary attachments that can be purchased for this. You can get a tourniquet holder. If you're law enforcement, there's a handcuff model available, subgun attachment, and a rifle attachment, if I'm not mistaken, as well as they've opened up this spine architecture to the open source community, essentially. There are 3D printable jigs, so you can make a custom knife kydex insert for the other side of this if you're so inclined. If you can get a holster for your firearm, you probably can get a magazine carrier for it, or at least something to have additional capabilities with it. People might rag on the fact that they made a rifle magazine adapter, but for people who run 3-gun competitions or maybe jump out boys, there's a reason why you might need a rifle, a second rifle mag instead of a second pistol mag. I'm not saying that I think it's the best idea, but the cool thing about it being modular is if you don't need it or it's not useful to you, then you don't have to buy it. It's not forced on you, you're not forced to purchase it, and it's an upcharge that is a reasonable amount of money given its price point and durability. That being said, I've got other sidecar style holsters. I have one for my staccato. I'll overlay an image of it here. And it's worked very well. I don't like the clip design. I'm a big fan of these dual plastic clips. Yes, it does somewhat print, but at this point I'm carrying a Gen 5 45 with a light and a dot on it. I don't care about printing. So, based on your mission and what you're trying to do, this could fill a lot of those roles. Some people don't want to support the company itself. I think find something that works for you and make it yours and use it as much as possible. So whatever you end up choosing to do, I'm happy with these purchases and I'm happy with supporting them as a company. They also offer a discount. If you just click a couple boxes, I'll try and overlay some footage of that. During checkout, you will get a discount if you you don't have to answer honestly, but if you answer honestly, they're giving people, it's essentially a small military discount, but for people that are willing to preserve life, liberty, and innocent people. So I can appreciate that, and I dig that ethos. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give a quick rundown and kind of my introductory thoughts while I'm testing this T.rex Arms Sidecar 2.0. I will do an update in the future. I'm planning on grabbing some of the additional attachments, and I'll make a follow-up video probably in six or so months. So basically, once I get the other holster, I'm going to run it, and see if I can break it. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.